I didn't add myself. Hello, everybody. Hobo's going nuts tonight. He's late. I've been designing and I was caught up in the process. And I said, what time? Oh, no, it's already 9 o'clock and I wasn't ready. So, hey, everybody. Hope you've had a good week. It's been a crazy week, beyond crazy week, but we're here and we're above ground. I guess that's a good week. So who we got here? We got the regular crowd. Welcome everybody. Just to give that disclaimer, if there's anybody here new already, I'm not real good about self-promotion, but like, share, and subscribe to this stream should you enjoy what you're seeing here. And Kent gave everybody the 5-minute warning. They actually got 6 minutes because I was a minute late. And I didn't even have time to grab my drinks. I'm actually going to have to go grab mine out of the freezer because I've got it in the freezer. And I'm switching it up on you, Jonathan. I don't have my RC tonight. I've actually got a new drink, and I'm actually going to kind of use it as a not a throttle, but as an hourglass. Once it's empty, stream's over. We're not going to go long-winded. Well, we ain't planning on it anyway. We never plan on it. Let's see here. Looking to see if there's any comments or questions that right out of the gate that I need to look at before we start talking about. Where is? Oh, there it is. I got it pushed off to the side. The different projects we've been working on this week. Let's see. All right, good. All right. So welcome to everybody. I've had a very, 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 very busy and hectic week this week. The brakes went out on the truck. Well, it didn't go out, but the warning system went out. The air warning system for the air brakes. And if the way air brakes works, if you've got air, your brakes work. They release. If you don't have air, then the brakes actually engage. They'll prevent you from driving if you don't have enough air pressure. And my low pressure warning light was going off in the truck, even though I had showed plenty of pressure. So one of two things was happening. Either my gauge was wrong or a sensor was failing. And it turns out it was just a sensor failing. But that was an expense I wasn't prepared for. But it's fixed. And I spent 2 days at the repair facility. And those 2 days I spent there, I spent working with you guys. I helped a bunch of people, and it was crazy. I think I told I was with the patrons Wednesday, I think it was. I think on Monday I went about 1.5 times around the globe, or the flat earth, whichever one you subscribe to. I went around it almost 1.5 times. Busy day. Tuesday was hectic too. And one of the requests I received was from an individual who purchased a file off of Etsy, and the file was not LightBurn friendly. The way that the tabs were designed on it were not really for laser cutting. Someone mentioned in one of the comments that it was more for, I think, more like scroll sawing or something. They were kind of tension tabs. They were larger than the slots and had a slit down the middle so that when you forced them in, they squeezed together to help create the friction. But just what, it was not a laser file, and it was not LightBurn friendly, but it inspired me. And I said, hey, you know what? I like it. It's a neat concept. There's a lot of things I do different. And I got to looking at it and I said, it's not any different basically than the lantern. I said, that lantern right there could very easily be turned into a 6-sided gazebo. And so that's what I did Wednesday and Thursday. I uploaded a video for you guys, or I did it Thursday and Friday. Uploaded it for you guys on Friday, yesterday. It's a long video. It's 2 hours long, but it's start to finish. And I challenge any other laser creator out there that do they do that? Do they show you start to finish how to create a design? They'll show you, oh, look, use this Boolean tool, it does that. And if you do this and you can draw that, and then watch this, hit a button, and then poof, look what I made. They're showing off, and they're showing what their laser can do. We don't know if they can do anything because they didn't show us anything. But I challenge any other laser creator out there, don't, educate folks. Don't just look what I can do. Show people. So 2.5 hours or better showing start to finish how to do that complete design. You don't have to buy my files off of my website. You can go do them yourself. But I did this first version, and I knowingly it wasn't going. I knew it wasn't going to work, but I was close. The stairs didn't line up. There was a couple of things off about the stairs, and they were simple mistakes, but easy to fix. And so I fixed those, and then I did the second version, and it worked, and it worked flawlessly, and worked like a champ, and looked really, really nice. And so I did, once I had proof of concept and it worked, I put this file on the website. But even after I took this off of the laser and put it together, I'm like, I could have done that better. I think we all do it. It's like, that could be better. I could read, that could be, but this was, 2 days worth of work, 2.5 days worth of work. And I needed to get something up. So I was like, because we can always, we are our own worst critic, where I can pick, you nitpick your stuff, right? So, but others have suggested, people who have already got the file, they've suggested improvements that I was, and I'm like, okay, those are things I was already thinking. So other people are seeing it too. So it's not just me. So I've already made a couple of changes. I haven't tested it yet, but I've already got it's actually version 3, but it's version 2 of this. And this is something else I do for you guys. Anybody who's purchased a design like this already, and I continue to make changes and improvements, once I get that file ready, I actually go into the download history for everybody who's purchased it and send them the new updated file as well. So they're not, going, oh man, I should have waited. You got them both. So I'm curious to hear from you guys, for those who have looked at this, what changes might you suggest? What improvements would you see? I went with a clock up there in the top because I didn't know what else to do. So this is, I want to hear constructive criticism, ideas. I'm not expecting and don't want to hear 100% praise of, oh, Hobo. I want positive, constructive criticism. What might you do differently? And I'm going to show you what I did do. And let's see here. Go back up here to, there's my mark. Yeah, well, if you're talking about Dell says, we've heard that before, about this not going to be a long stream. Well, it's not going to be a long stream. Oh, I'm glad you said something. I got to go get this out of the freezer, or else I got a mess. What's the new drink? And what's the new hourglass? The new gauge for, okay, time to end this. Let me grab this out of the freezer. Oh my. So some of you are aware that I've got a new house guest here. My dad's living here now and doing a lot of shopping and stuff for him. And one thing that he really likes, and I do too. I just I haven't thought about it. Just good old chocolate milk. So I've been going through this pretty quickly, and this will be the gauge for tonight's stream. When this is empty, we got to wrap it up. All right. So let's see here. Moving on. No, not a fifth, but a half. Not a fifth, but a half. You know that I look at the gazebo. Let's see. You know now that I look at the gazebo. Oh, it could be the basis for Taj Mahal. Okay. Now that you look at the gazebo, it could be the basis for the Taj Mahal. I got you. Yeah, well, that one's probably a little bit more elaborate than what I want to take on. All right, let's see here. Yeah, I don't know, and yeah, no two styles are going to be the same, but I don't even know that anybody out there even shows start to finish how to do things. A complete file. I don't know that anybody does that. And John says, the total creation of things is why I am a Patreon. Yep, patron on Patreon. Yep. And there's, hey, Russ, and that's Russ is one of the first ones to say that. Teach a man to fish and learn to design for yourself. Sharon loves the clocks. The clocks should show minutes to midnight. Well, the reason I went with 5 o'clock was a couple of different reasons. When I was putting this design together, I left the benches out of it because if I was going to do, I went with the 3 stairs instead of 1 entry, I put 3 sets of steps on it. Now, if I omit 1 set of steps and put the handrails on the other 5 sides, then I was going to put a bench in there. So a bench that went around the perimeter of it for people to sit on. But I liked the 3 sets of stairs and a complete open floor plan because that is more like the bandstand you would see in the town square in an old, the old Main Street downtown. And they'd have, they'd use it for functions, for gatherings, for parties, civic events, whatever. But a lot of your smaller towns, they have the little, pavilions or gazebos or whatever still, and they'll do a, live after 5 or something like that. And so that's why I said it's 5 o'clock. And then plus it's 5 o'clock somewhere, but so that's why I went with 5 o'clock. And it's easy enough to change and make it whatever you want. Even if you don't want a clock, make it whatever you want. But that was what was floating around in my head when I went with the clocks and the 5 o'clock. The problem with the gazebo is you can't fit into it. No, but if you wanted to, you could scale it up to real world plans, and I guarantee it would work. Let's see here. Maybe a functional clock mechanism for the top. Well, that would have to be pretty big. And someone actually said something about making it an actual clock. And I think they were talking about making a clock here that they could see, because this isn't big enough for an actual clock mechanism. Maybe a watch. Let's see. Yeah, a tea light. Okay. Oh, facing down. A tea light in the top facing down would look good. I was thinking, now you got me thinking lights, tea lights, or the little fairy lights that, even if there's little small fairy lights If you did them and mounted them so that they were hanging down, that would look really kind of cool. That'd look really good. And Dave's already asking about the Cubico. I have not opened either. I'm not going to open both. I'm only going to open one. I have 2 Cubicos here. For those who aren't aware, I ordered the Cubico when it was on the early bird Kickstarter. So I pretty much got 2 for the price of 1. And that's the only reason that I was able to get 2, because it was early bird Kickstarter. It really was about 2 for 1. So I got 1 for me and 1 for you, and not for them, but for you. One of those I'm going to give away to somebody here on the stream, but I've had too much going on this week to even begin to open that up. And I have a hat press that came in this week as well to do the leatherette patches. You know, Patrick does a lot of those, and I've been watching his, and they're really neat. And I'm like, okay. And he does a lot of his with the Rolly, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting a little jealous. So I got the hat press. I don't know if it's the same one he's got or not, but I did get the well, I got the same leatherette stuff that he got. So I'm going to be getting the supplies in for it first of the week, and I'll be doing a video on the leatherette and the Rolly and the hat press and all, hopefully before middle of next week, depending on when the supplies arrive. And then I hope to also get the Cubico out and set up, but I've got a whole workbench right here that you can barely see. But it's like every other flat surface in every one of your shops and or kitchens. What happens to all flat surfaces? They suck everything in. So that's what this is. So I want to clean off the workbench, get it all set up, and I'm going to set up the Cubico there and the hat press there and all that. So I've got some organizing and setting up to do. Sharon says, I was seeing tabs under the steps until I realized that they were supports for the steps. They are supports for the steps. Or it's actually the step itself. Always backward here. Let me turn the comment off. There we go. So those black squares are the tabs on the steps where they lock in together. So yes, that's one thing that I didn't like, because I was trying so hard. The whole reason for these little accent pieces up here, they are to hide all of the slots and tabs around the top. And then I've got the extra pieces up here and here that hide those slots and tabs. And then the blue accents, they hide the slots that are underneath the handrails. So the only slots and tabs you still see are on the sides of the stairs. And the biggest one was those there. And I'm like, and I didn't even look at that or notice it until I was putting the final touches on this and putting it together. I'm going, wow, it's so clean. And then you see those. And I'm like, okay, how could I do that? How could I make that better? And that's part of the revision that I did. I actually, and I'll show you in LightBurn here, but I actually took the floor that's in the gazebo and actually extended that floor out, and incorporated it into the first step. So there is no slots and tabs. You don't see any break there at all. There's not even a demarcation or a line difference between the steps. So that's just one continuous piece all the way out to the first step. And it does not have any slots or tabs on it on the side. You'll just see the full profile of that material coming out with the steps coming up to the bottom of that. And then to hide these slots and tabs that are on the side here, I created some handrails. Just and because I said, all right, well, I've got the extra dimension here of the blue. I'll do the same thing. We'll cut out some blue handrails and then put them on this side of the stairs, the tread. It's not, these are the treads, those stringers. So put them on the side of the stringers there, and that'll cover up those slots and tabs. And I've got those already designed. I've got these revisions already done, but I'm interested in hearing anything else that people. And it's interesting to see you guys mentioning the same thing that I'm already going. Yeah, that could change that. And then plus the way this is now, if you've got the first version and you've tried putting this together yet, depending on how tight you made your kerf, those may have been a real beast to put together. The steps, because of the way that they interlock into the base of the gazebo and here. And so I said, we'll change that. So now I've got the steps made so that they can be actually completely assembled as its own little module and then snapped in to that bottom tab right there. And once that snaps in, but they'll be completely. The problem with the way that they're designed is you couldn't square them up until they were in the slots of the base. Now you don't need those. I've removed those slots from the base completely, and the stairs are one modular piece that will snap into those, and then the stairs hide the handrails hide everything. So I think that's going to look better. So good. I keep them coming. Are the steps for city code? Actually, if you did this millimeter equals 1 foot, the steps are a 2 foot rise with an 8-inch step, 3 steps at 8 inches, 24 inches. So yes. Yes, Greg. Yes, they are. Let's see. Yeah, and Crafting with Gene says the open floor plan allows to add anything you wanted to do there. Yep. Oh, the statuary. If they wanted to do it for a little Christmas nativity scene or something, that set it up inside there. They are not ADA compliant. No, Greg got me on that one. And thank you, Jim. No, they're not ADA compliant. Surely they are not. I'm thinking back in the 50s bandstands when we didn't have that. We probably had that problem, but it wasn't required in code. All right, let's see. Going. Small digital watches in the top, maybe. Yeah, the digital watches. I think if I was actually going to do a watch face, I wouldn't want it to be digital though, because of the time period. I'm Back to the Future. It would have been the clock hands. It wouldn't be digital. But hey, man, it ain't. Do what you like. And I don't know. I bet you they do exist. I bet you they have miniature clocks like that for dollhouses, and because they make the people who are serious about their dollhouses and their furniture, they'll make working grandfather clocks. So I'll guarantee you can probably get you a working clock mechanism that small to go in there. Now to think about it. Don't know what that means, Robert. THR. Don't know. How about how about a music box where the top is the winding mechanism? Then when it played, the top would rotate. Now, that would be cool. You know, that would be cool, but the rotating top, uh, because it's tall now. I mean, it's but it's proportional. I did everything using the golden ratio so that when as you look at that as it steps down, it looks like it's as it is as aesthetically pleasing as you could ask for it to be. But if you went any taller and to make because just seeing that the clock rotating up top, but if you actually had, because it is an open floor plan, if you actually got a true music box that had like the little ballerina in it or whatever that had some kind of rotating movement that you could actually you could accommodate the mechanism in the base down here and have whatever that is coming up inside of it. That would be some serious engineering, but that would work. But there's plenty of room up top here to accommodate just the music box. And with the way that this is made and with all the perforation from all the lattice, that would be a good echo sound chamber in there and generate some really good volume for the sound for the music box. I like that. Good ideas. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. The gazebo in my small town has a slanted roof. I hope that this is understandable. Yeah, it's got a pitched roof on it instead of the flat roof. And the file that I helped clean up, it had a pitch roof on it too. And I started to go there. But the reason I didn't do that was because I started with this and it's flat. And I was trying to demonstrate how you can repurpose other files and not have to completely start from scratch with some of your designs. When you look at something, and I wish, and I've got one, I don't know where it's at. I've got one of the basic templates. It has no design work in it at all. The basic lanterns, and but to be able to look at that, and then okay, what can I do with that? And envision morphing that blank, plain Jane, no design lantern into that. My hat supplier, I'm going to be Terry's asking about my hat supplier. I'm just going to go down to my local guy here. I try to buy local as much as I can, and the guy who does my hats for me, I go in and even when I do my Hobo with wood hats, if somebody orders a large order of hats from him and they say, you know what, we need 48 of them, and he has a deal if he buys 64 of them. Well, he buys 64 of them. They bought 48, but he's got some extras in there, but nobody really needed them or wanted them. I'll just go in there and look through his stuff that he has left over, and I get a deal on them. Instead of buying what I want, I buy what I can get at a deal. Yeah, the silo I did that living hinge and it was kind of a conical shaped. I wouldn't do a conical shape on this, but a pitch roof with 6 sides is what I was looking at doing. And I might do another version of something like this with a pitch roof. Yeah, I looked at some of those. I've looked at some. I haven't right now. I've got some I got a couple things coming. I don't remember what all I got coming. Uh, glue panels on sides of steps and have a false floor to cover tabs in floor. I thought about that too. The false floor would be an easy enough thing to do, but I've already redesigned it and incorporated it. The first step is the floor. You know, the floor extends out over the stringer and is the actual first step. So it's going to be very clean and very neat. And Andy says handrails, good idea. That'll help, and that'll hide all the extra slots and tabs on the side. Yep, exactly. So the floor comes out and makes this top stair. Yep. The floor will extend. In fact, let's go over here to LightBurn real quick. And there's Shoeless one again. Hey, thanks, brother. Well, I tell you what now, Dad loves Black's barbecue. That might be something we definitely have to do. Thank you. And God bless you, sir. And let's go back up here to what Carl was asking about the steps. So let's switch. Got that and got that. All right. So here is the floor, and the original design was come around here, and it had the same tabs on it that popped out right here. And that's what you see at the top of the stairs right now are these tabs. Well, these tabs, I removed them and just extended the floor on out, and that will actually be the top step on the staircase. And I modified it, the stairs, so that now I've still got 3 treads here, but there's only going to be 2. There's going to be one that snaps in here and one that snaps in here. And this will be the first step up. In fact, let's pull this out so you can see it a little bit better. That'll be the first step up here, second step up here. And then this is where the floor of the gazebo comes out. And this one is where that third tread will go back here, and it'll be behind and underneath the floor. And the sole reason for this piece is to help you square everything up. When you pop these 2 treads in and you pop this one in, then you're going to start to have everything squared up. Without this back there on the back, these, even when I had the 3 here, and here, the whole thing could still get cattywampus. You couldn't square it up. And when you were trying to manage that one piece and get it lined up, get it into the tabs on the bottom and into the slots on the gazebo, I mean, I did it because there it is. Anybody who's got the first file and they try to do it and say, oh man, I can't do this. It can be a little bit challenging, but it's doable. And I did it. It works, or else I wouldn't have put it on the website. But by me doing it this new way, you can actually build the steps, and there will be a complete separate module that will be squared up. And then whenever you've got them squared up, this back tread right here, you can put a little bit of glue on the back of it and then put your glue on here. These will just snap straight down and push that against the base of the gazebo. And there's no holding your mouth right and dancing and hopping around and spitting in the wind on a blue moon to get these things lined up right, because that's what I had to do. It was challenging, but I got it. But that will clean all of this up, make these easier to assemble and install. And I think that's going to make a huge improvement. Kathy says, I am thinking this would be neat for a wedding table. Ooh, for the bride and groom statues inside. Now, and I could see that would work. And you could even customize it, personalize it, monogram it instead of just having a clock up there. It could be the wedding day, the initial, maybe every other one is the last in their initial, and then every other one is the anniversary date, the wedding day, and then that way it'd be something that but not everybody's going to like that. There'll be a handful of people that will love it, and then there'll be some that'll be like, yeah, that's just too country for me, honey. They'd be too sophisticated. But I like it. White, top, white, middle, red. I'm guessing y'all were talking about other stuff there. Y'all were talking about the acrylics. And I seen the blue. The reason, and can anybody tell me why I went with the blue roof? Anybody can tell me why I went with the blue roof? In fact, I'll tell you what, if anybody can tell me why I went with the blue roof, I'll send you a Hobo Nation hat. If you can tell me why the blue roof, I will send you a Hobo Nation hat. All right. Let's see. Jay says the music box would hang under the top and the key would protrude into the top. Now you could, depending on the size of the music box, I'm thinking the music box, because some of those are quite small. The music box itself could potentially be contained inside that second housing with the key protruding up through the top, and even attaching it somehow to that top piece, to where if this wasn't glued in place, it was actually the key. Then they were talking about you could twist that to wind up the music box. That would work. But you just got to find the right mechanisms, you may have to do a little bit. Let's have a group challenge. Let's have a group challenge of coming up with a lighthouse variant that puts elements you've taught us. Yeah, and I had a request on the lighthouses. There's so many different lighthouse styles out there. And you know what? That'd be fun to do, though. It really will, to be able to build a lighthouse. And I wished I could remember who was the first one to ask me about a lighthouse. Yeah. In fact, you know what? And everybody, if you're not part of the Facebook group, Hobo with Wood Facebook group, go over and join that. And what I want that to be about is asking for help. That's great. Exchanging ideas, but almost more than anything, it's a place to go brag and show off what you did. So, where Jim's talking about, let's do a competition on the, lighthouses. That's where you go, you make them and you post them there and share them. Look what I did. And it's intentionally a place to go boast, a place to go show off. And if you need any assistance, everybody knows you're welcome to email me, hobowithwood@gmail.com, and I will do my best to help you. But if you do and you don't get a quick enough response, you can always ask, the group, hey man, I got this problem. And it is a place to exchange free information. If anyone ever tries to sell you anything on there or offers to do something for you for a fee, I want to know about it. So the only thing on there that's for sale is Hobo with Wood files. That is, and I really don't even try to bring that up in the group. It's like, I don't promote it. I'm not constantly shoving that down your face. And it's like that video I just shared Friday. I showed you how to do this. You don't even have to go buy the file. So anyway, but go over to Hobo with Wood Facebook group, sign up and show off everything you do. And yeah, those were really, really popular way back. And Greg, I'm guessing you and I are probably getting close to the same age. While we're at it, a merry-go-round. I'm I've got a set of planetary gears that I was working on a design that I was going to do, and I was kind of keeping it hush hush. I was working on a merry-go-round, and I was thinking about doing it as a true carousel with the horses. And where the horses would actually go up and down as it rotated. And I got it figured out, but the way that I had the planetary gears configured, it was more for, instead of it would definitely spin, but also the way I had it currently configured and planned, whatever was on the outside planetary gear would rotate. And so that would actually be kind of a neat deal for the ballerinas. So if I was like, if each, and that was something that I thought about, I was like, okay, well, if instead of horses, if I had, 4 or 5 ballerinas that rotated, but in addition to rotating, they spun on their axis as they rotated. And I've got that planetary gear set up, and it's a functioning, gear set. But getting the artistic part of it figured out, I'm like, yeah, okay, not there yet. A weather vane. I thought about, a weather vane. That would be possible, but that piece is not more than a little over an inch tall. I think the clock faces are about 20, 25 millimeters, if that. So the weather vane is going to be kind of small, fragile. And that's the reason I didn't incorporate anything, because I didn't want to get something that was even more potentially fragile than what I've got. But back to the dollhouse, I guarantee you could probably get you a small metal weather vane that you could pop in there that would not be as fragile and would look good. Sharon says there are some clocks on Amazon. I just looked and there are several options. I didn't even think about the dollhouse aspect of that until I'd already, because somebody said about a clock to begin with. I was like, yeah, there ain't no clocks that small. But the dollhouse clock working mechanisms, yeah, they'd be that small. A dancing hobo, yeah, they ain't no. I ain't never seen no dancing hobos. Well, I take that back. I take that back. In this county where I live, I have seen some dancing hobos. Yeah, well, this is not going to be for public use, so we don't have to worry about all that. Russ says I did a pitch on the church design I made. It can be done, but it can drive you crazy. Yeah, it can be a little bit of an aggravation, but it's not. It wasn't that. I didn't do it because of the little. Because there was a lot of challenging pieces to this. If you watched a 2.5 hour video, the pitch is not too terrible. In fact, I was even going to do 2 separate pitches to where the first pitch would have been pretty steep, and the second one, or the top one, would have been not flat but really darn close. So now there isn't a slot that the stairs slide into. Not on the base. Not on the base. You don't need it. Because I added that extra piece because those were there to help keep everything squared up. And by making that piece that go on the back of it, and then you had the treads at the top, now everything squares up, and it's a nice rigid module piece that you can actually assemble everything, set it to the side, and then all you got to do is set it down in the 2 tabs on the base. The only 2 tabs that'll be on this will be these. The stairs will snap in there and there. And then you have a tread on the very back side here that meets up against it. And you can put a little glue on that, a little glue on there, and they ain't going nowhere. And it'd be 1,000 times easier to assemble. Anybody that's got this design already, play with it and try and put these stairs on. I did it, but these sausages did not make it easy. So that it'd be a whole lot easier to do. Without the trellis between the step, you could add names for table seatings. Oh, yeah. Now just turn you off. So he's suggesting there if we leave this out, and then then you could but then you wouldn't even need that. Well, the blue frame helps hide the slots up there, but you could use that to put a nameplate in there, personalize it, do whatever, table numbers, or yeah, that's another design option. Absolutely. Nope. In fact, this was not painted. In fact, Russ, if you're still in the shop or in the stream there, whenever you guys blessed me with a couple of orders of wood, Russ sent me some of this, and this was from Craft Closet, and this is pre-finished 3mm MDF. Now, I've always said in the past that I am not a fan of the MDF. But I have to revise that statement. I'm not a fan of MDF that you get at big box stores. And in fact, even some of the MDF I've gotten from some of the craft places, I was like, nah. I bought some stuff from a local craft supply shop here in North Carolina, and the laser wouldn't. I couldn't put a dent in it, couldn't touch it. But this stuff from Craft Closet, 3mm, cut super clean, really nice. The pre-finished on both sides and wiped clean with water. Just a damp cloth and wipe all the residue right off, and it looked really, really good. So that was pre-finished, and Russ sent me a variety of pack. I think it has about 10 or 12 different colors in it or more. So no, it wasn't because that was the paint that I had. And Andy says blue roof because it reflects the blue sky. Nope. Blue is beautiful. That's why. Nope. You had a lot of blue paint. Nope. Satellite invisibility. You're getting close, Terry, but not really. But you're getting close. Energy efficiency, no. Aesthetics, reflection of sunlight, or even part of the stormwater management system called a blue roof. No. So far, Terry's been the closest. Just as a group project to bring us all together, closer together. I'm thinking about the lighthouses. Yeah, I think the lighthouses would be really cool. Everybody, that's, Jim's challenging us all. Everybody go make a lighthouse. You painted the blue top because you were in the garage shop next to the lathe and you found, nope. Blue reflects sunlight better. No. Blue roof matches your blue wall. Blue for your logo. No. No. If they do, I don't know about that. And I've got a bunch of pre-painted stuff. That wasn't it. No, Chuck. Hey, Chuck. And And Chuck's a huge supporter, and I'm extremely grateful for you, sir. I'm glad to see you in the stream and participating. But it is peaceful and it can promote tranquility. But no, that's not the reason either. Blues color RC bottle. No. I thought for sure somebody would have jumped, nailed this. And Terry was close. Terry was really close. No, it is the color I have on my logo, but and I didn't even pay no attention to that. It's really close to that logo too. But no. And Francis says to blend in with the slots. Actually, there are no slots and tabs noticeable on the blue. They are completely covered up. So if that's why you're not noticing them, or if you thought you weren't noticing them because of the color, no. Every single slot and tab on the roof is completely hidden. They're not hard to see. They're just all covered up. And I have not worked with the True Flat MDF. Unless that's the Craft Closet brand, their item. But I was extremely impressed with how flat this material was. It laid perfect on the bed, cut really, really nice, cleaned up nice. I was really, really happy with it. So huge thanks to Russ for that. No, blue's not related to the tire shop. Why the building was blue at one time, but no relation there. I downloaded it and it looks like the file I got does not have the blue frame at the bottom to hide the slots and tabs, or the decorative pieces on top to hide the slots and tabs. Well, hang tight, Tom. I'll have. I thought I updated it before I put it out there. Don't bother cutting anything out yet until you get the new file that I send you. Water. No, not my favorite color. Not my favorite color. The Turs birds and spiders. No. Terry, you're getting you were really. Bam. Jim gets it. Jim gets the free hat. And if you guys aren't aware what we're talking about, if you remember all the horrible fires that took place in Hawaii, part of the conspiracy is that was actually started by lasers, because you can see in the aftermath anything that was blue didn't burn. Blue cars sitting there intact. Blue sun or the beach umbrellas not touched. And just craziness. Houses that had blue roofs not touched. Houses on either side of it burnt to the ground, but a blue roof house was not touched. So conspiracy theory or not, something ain't right there. But they speculate it's because the blue reflected the energy beam, the laser beam, whatever it was. I don't know. But yes, Jim, you get the free hat. So send me your send me your mailing information to hobowithwood@gmail.com, and I'll send you out a Hobo Nation hat. All right, so we got that. All right. Those houses also had tinfoil hats. I don't know about that, but they had blue roofs and they did not burn. All right. So, and I'm concerned now that who brought it? Tom says that his version, and because I worked like a dog Thursday and Friday getting these different ones done, and I'm 99% sure. I'm 99.9% sure that I didn't share this file. This file didn't work, but the file I shared may have been the file that worked, but did not include the extra accent pieces. So hold tight, and I will be uploading the new revised version. And if you've already downloaded it, I will send this to you in your inbox. You won't have to go get it; it'll automatically be sent to you. And that brings up a good point to bring up. When you sign up on hobowithwood.com for your account to download files, whether you're a patron or not, it is extremely important that you give me your correct email address. I don't care about anything else. You can put in there that your name is Mickey Mouse and you live on 123 Fantasy Lane. I don't care. I don't need anything at all. I don't need any of your information. I don't collect it. I don't sell it. I don't distribute it. Nobody has access to it. Your payment information will have to be correct in order for you to process your payment. Your email needs to be correct for the simple reason that two things happen when you place an order. If you put in the correct email, if you wait long enough, the page you're ordering from automatically refreshes and the download will be right there. All you got to do is just click on it and download it. But if you put in your correct email, you place your order. As soon as the payment processes, an email is generated and you'll receive a receipt for your payment, including a link to download that file. The reason that it's crucial that you give me your right email is for cases like this. And it happens more often than I'd like, that a lot of times people will find problems with a file that need to be corrected. And when those are brought to my attention and I make those corrections, I email everyone who's downloaded that file the new file with the corrections in it. And if you've given a bogus email address, and there's a lot of them, if you've given a bogus email address, I can't send you the correct information. And that's the only time you will get any emails from me. I do not send, and because I am terrible. Yep, I'm a terrible self-promoter. I mentioned it earlier. Like, share, and subscribe this if you like this and you like this content. Patreon.com/hobowithwood if you want to continue seeing content like this. But I will not be sending you emails going, hey, Jim, look at this. Hey, Bob, look at this. Hey, Bill, look at this. Hey, look, I'm not constantly sending stuff in your inbox. You'll not get spam from me. The only time you'll get anything from me is when you order and when I need to send you an amended file. So put your correct email in there. Okay, and Johnson said he doesn't have it either. See, apparently I made, because I was making changes. So I screwed up and didn't get that last amended one in there. I will get that done. In fact, tonight, once I end this stream, I will send everyone the new. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you both files. Tonight, when I end this stream, everyone who has already downloaded the file, if you haven't downloaded it yet, don't. And I'm trying here. I'm sitting here wondering or thinking. Yeah, the newest version with the solid floor extending out over the first step, that one's going to be the easiest one to assemble. So and it has all the roof accents and the handrails so that will be the file I send out to everyone and the file that I get amended onto the website. So don't download it yet if you haven't already. And if you have, I'll send out you the new file tonight. Terry says, go gold or go home. No, I appreciate my bronze and my silver as well. I've got a pretty equal number of sponsors in each tier, and each tier is extremely valuable to me. All right. So has anybody ran into any kind of problems that they haven't figured out yet? If they've gone to the 2.0, I have went ahead and upgraded to 2.0.02. Is anybody having issues that they haven't figured out? Maybe it was answered and I didn't see it on the site, that people may like to see how many sheets. This took two sheets of 300 by 300. Because then, and even with the new design and all the additional pieces and the larger floor, let me show you. Good question. Nobody asked that, but good question. Let me switch over to LightBurn. So there is two 300 by 300 tool paths, and I've got everything nested on two sheets. Now, if you were going to do like I did, I used the 3 mil MDF, and it's 12 by 19, give or take. And there's the waste from it. And then I had, I don't know where the blue's at, but another 12 by 19 that I did the roof line with. And it's here somewhere. Don't know. So you can do it from a single sheet of 12 by 19. And then if you want to do the colored roof, a partial sheet of that. But if you didn't want to use MDF and you wanted to use 300 millimeter material, you can do it on two sheets of 300 by 300. Brad says, what is your assembly time? I know mine will be much higher than most anyway. The assembly time or the cutting and assembly time? I spent more time cleaning, and I say this cleaned up, and you can see the black or the soot around right there. See how dark and sooty that is? But it wipes right off, and it's clean as can be. And I spent more time cleaning the material as part of the assembly process. Spent more time cleaning than I did actually gluing stuff together. And I did not get upset about that because it was just wiping it off. And there was no drying time. I didn't have to go pre-paint or prep. So even with the cleaning that I had to do to this material, it was still faster, smoother, cleaner than the spraying. And the finish on it is spectacular. And it's double-sided finish. So I'm like, can't beat that. Just the assembly time. He says he still uses a 30 watt for cutting. I didn't pay no attention, Brad. I mean, it wasn't terrible. But you have to be, no, thank you, Tom. God bless you, sir. You have to be, you need to put some thought into the assembly, about how it's going to go together. The new design I'm going to send out with the stairs being modular pieces, that's going to help. It's going to make it a lot easier because you can just assemble all three sets of steps, glue them up, and then set them to the side. But when you go to put the base, I started with the base. Will you have room for two sheets after you add the accents? I've got the accents. Everything's on there on two sheets. Everything's on there on two sheets. Because this is everything. This is everything. This has got the roof accents right there. It's got the accents for the bottom around the base. There's the handrails. Everything is on here on 2 sheets of 300 by 300. So for less than $6 in material, you can put this together. But I started with the actual base and put 3 of the 6 sides on there. Why don't you cut out the small pieces? Save on the wood. Why don't... where's my mouse? There it is. Why don't you use cut out to all the small pieces, save on the wood? Don't follow you there. Are you maybe, why don't I use skeletons? Use some of my scrap material to cut out the small pieces? You could, if that's what you're talking about. But from a time savings, yeah, he's talking about the scraps, the skeletons. That's what I thought. So yeah, you could definitely use your skeletons. Oh my, let's see. Because I got skeletons laying everywhere that I could easily cut out some of the trim pieces from. And then over beside my laser, I keep really nice pieces, really nice skeletons that have got some really good meat on them. That, in fact, this is a skeleton. You can see this is a skeleton from cutting out the first prototype that didn't work. But there is some really good meat on my skeleton that I could use to cut out the small pieces. The only problem with doing it that way, and it's not a problem. The reason that I have it nested on 2 pieces of 300 by 300 material is when they buy my file, they would like to, and even if they don't buy it, they're a patron and they download it. Having it nested very neatly on just 3 solid sheets of paper or 3 solid sheets of material, they prefer to see that. If you want to do your own and grab these off and put them on scrap pieces, you could do that. Now here, the one thing I'll caution you about doing that though, is how many different variables in thickness are you going to have by cutting them out of 3 or 4 or 5 pieces of scrap material versus putting down 2 sheets, the door opening cutouts are being, yes, some of the small pieces could go there too. You're absolutely right. I think he's talking about using the small, yes. But I didn't need it. If I needed more room, you're absolutely right. And for folks that I finally got it all put together, and Terry got it too. If here, this right here is waste, this is waste, and this is waste. So if I needed the room, if this was too crowded, then I could grab, I don't know if I get 3 of them, or they're grouped. So let's just say duplicate that, bring that over here, rotate it, ungroup them. And since that's waste material, I could put them right there, put those right there. And the stairs I could put in there. You absolutely could. There's nothing wrong with doing that. And that would also, you're still using the same thickness of materials, so you're not going to have a problem with variances on slots and tabs. But I didn't need to. I didn't need everything fit on 3 sheets without having to put pieces, or on 2 sheets without having to put pieces within pieces. But yeah, nothing wrong with doing that. Very smart to do that. All right. And I forget what we was talking about. And that was another thing too that I was really pleasantly surprised. the premium Baltic birch that I use a lot of, and I'll continue to do that. It varies in size anywhere from 2.7, sometimes 2.6 millimeters up to 3.3 millimeters. You can have a pretty wide variation in the thickness of the material. But that craft closet stuff, it was 3 millimeter. Period. The blue is 3 millimeter. Period. Flat as you could ask for. No, and so man, I was really impressed with it. All right. Oh, I was talking about the assembly process. So I started with the base. I put 3 vertical sides up, and then when I had the 3 vertical sides up, I then put the floor in. I pushed the floor into the 3 sides that I had in the base. Now, what I would recommend now is, since we're doing it so that there aren't any tabs in the stairs, when you go to put this together, I would put the 2 sides up that have the handrails on it and 1 set of stairs. Put those 3 up. Then you're going to slide the stairs through there, and then you have 2 sets of tabs on either side that you could snap into place, and then start assembling and putting the other 3 sides on from there. So you're going to put half of it together, put the floor in, and then enclose the floor. And then it's just a matter of putting the layers on the top, just like a wedding cake, just layer it up. But that was the first thing, is to think through how you're going to, because if you tried to put 4 sides on there, you're not going to be able to slide everything in. Well, now that we're not doing, you might even get by with doing, but do 3. I'd do 3, put the floor in, and then put the other 3 sides up around it. Why would we trust you? Because I haven't lied to you yet, my friend. One, that I got no use for liars and thieves, and I will not lie to you, and I will not steal from you. Have you had any problems with warped wood lately? Not really. But I've still got 1, 2. You guys really blessed me with wood back a couple of months, maybe 6 or 8 weeks ago. And I've got 3 boxes that I haven't opened yet, so they're still vacuum sealed. So they're not exposed right now to this environment that we've got going on. But the atmosphere we've got right now is humid as can be. Thunderstorms galore. And so the few pieces that I've got out, I've got some warpage going on, but it's because of, it's real. I mean, even though I'm indoors here and it's climate controlled, it's been a beast. Your shirt, trust me, I'm perfect. This is one of many shirts that I have that is a hangover from Stephen Barry's. They were a local, they were a chain, I guess. You name it, every funny saying you could think of, and I would buy bunches of them. But I had an issue at a workplace, and I bought a bunch of Procrastinators Unite Tomorrow and a bunch of these Trust Me, I'm Perfect. I had like 7 or 8 of each of them, and I would wear them every day to work, and just to poke the bear. Oh, wrong one. I thought Eric from Valley Forge mentioned once that craft closet have a 0.5 millimeter maximum variance. I didn't, and that may be right. I didn't see any. Yeah, it was impressive. It really was impressive stuff. And Brad said my last 2 fry have been almost perfect. Not so much the previous 2 batches. Yeah, I've only had one. In 3 years I had one batch of Fryler that was really bad, so bad that I reached out to him, and it was before he was doing the vacuum packing. In fact, he even told me, he said, "Yeah," he said, "I'm actually in the process of packing everything and vacuum sealing it, and because of the problems he was running into, and it wasn't problems of on his part. He explained to me the problems he was having was because of the shipping, where once they left his control, they were not being kept in climate controlled environments, and lots and lots of variables that were taking place that was causing stuff to happen that was just out of his hands. So the reason that Fryler is vacuum packed now is he's doing everything he can to ensure that they're exposed to as little as possible in between the time it leaves his place and gets to you. Um, that's why I said, why should we trust you over your head? It went over your. Oh yeah, I thought you. I thought maybe Carl. I had said something about do it this way and just trust me. I thought I made the comment, trust me. Uh, but yeah, so I didn't put the two to two together. I forgot I was even wearing this. Uh, yeah, Dale, and I don't know, is it how much of it is because of, like I said, I'm glad I don't have mine open right now, because if I had them open here, I imagine they'd be warping like crazy because of the atmospheric conditions. All right. Um, so I'm glad that you guys spoke up and let me know that, yeah, I didn't have the accents on that file. I will, as soon as we end this here, I'll get that new file out to everybody that's already downloaded. And Dale says, not Dale, Brad. I do weight mine down with 20 pounds once opened. I haven't had to do that. And I think the only way that would even really even benefit you is if you were in an environment where the wood could be exposed to enough atmospheric changes that it's able to absorb a little moisture and the weight's able to hold it down. Um, but if it's stable, if the environment's stable, I wouldn't expect it to be too much warpage is going on, and I wouldn't expect the weight to do a whole lot. Stop chugging that milk. Yeah, man, this is good stuff, boy. Smaller sips. Yeah, so no AC will make a big difference. Um, no AC in the room would definitely make you have the increase your potential for warpage with your boards. I was thinking the same thing. Smaller sips, longer live. Yeah. Oh me. So I've got two things, and I really did. I was a minute late for tonight's live stream because I was busy working on the modifications for this with the floor and the handrails, and I just now dawned on me. I'm gonna do two things for everyone who has downloaded the file as of tonight. I'm going to send you the correct file that I have right there that has all the accent pieces in it without the new modified floor. So you'll have the original file. And then I'm going to send you the version, it's actually version 3, but I've called it version 2, that has the extended floor with the modified steps. I'll send it to you listed as version 2. It'll all be in the same folder, same zip folder. And the reason I'm including both of them in that download, this one is tested. It works. I know it works. But the revision file that I finished 1 minute after 9, and I have not tested it yet. I have not tested the actual fitment. From everything I can see, it looks like everything lines up. But I haven't tested it yet. So I'll send you both. I'll send you the revised floor and step version 2 and this one. I'll send that out to you as soon as we finish the live. Milk mustache. So then it's okay to download now then? No, I wouldn't download it now yet, Kilroy. I wouldn't download it yet. Just hang tight. Hang tight. If you haven't already downloaded it, don't download it yet. All right. So nobody had any questions or issues dealing with anything else with LightBurn? Nobody? Oh, and I started to tell you. So I've got this, and I need to, and Chris says, I usually manipulate my designs on screen to check fitting where possible. And I do too. And that's how I got them. That's how I manipulated and created a new revised version. But there's things that I don't always catch. And that's how I ended up with this one, because the hiccup that I didn't account for was that 3mm kickoff, the offset. That 3mm offset is the reason the stairs are 3mm off. I didn't account for that variable when I placed the stairs. So I don't always catch everything. And I don't like to put anything out there that I'm going to be selling that I haven't tested and proven that it works. That was nearly a bad thing. When I opened the file, it showed made with a newer version of LightBurn. And it works fine for me. The problems I see people have are things I don't use often. People have things are things that I don't use often. Okay. All right. Well, ladies and germs, if there's no other questions, I need to say, wait a minute, here we go. No real LightBurn issues, but I did discover something in numeric fields like height, width, and offset, etc. Simply putting the cursor in the field and rolling the center. Oh yeah, now it's always done that. Well, I don't know if it's always done it, but it's done it for a while. And because I will, I use my scroll button. I use my rolling center mouse button to scroll in and out on my LightBurn file. So, I use my center scroll button. And what he's talking about, if anybody's not aware of it, if I come over here, let's grab one of these that's individual. That's individual. That's okay. We'll just duplicate it and bring that over here. And we'll ungroup it so you can see, make sure those are grouped. So right now I'm zooming in and out with my center scroll wheel. But if I come up here and just put it right there, I've clicked on my width. And now if I scroll, well, there it's not doing it. But if you are there. There, it's not doing it. But if you're hovering over it, there we go. And you scroll, you can change your width by scrolling in and out. And I've actually had it, and they may have actually fixed it so that you have to be hovering over it for the scroll wheel to work. Because I've actually had occasion, Jim, where I would be scrolling in and out and the size change. So that might actually be an amendment that they made to it. What do you know about that, Terry? Or not Terry, Chris, if you're still here? Because I've always occasionally, not always, but I have occasionally used the scroll button and inadvertently changed the size of a shape. But I've never noticed that I had to be, that I was in the field when I did it. Yep. Control Shift, Control Alt Shift, really tiny movements. Oh my goodness. Scrolling was fixed due to the amount of accidental resizing. So, okay. So yeah, they did change that because I knew that I used to scroll all the time and it would go, bah! So I don't know if that is exactly what you were talking about there, Jim, that it works differently now. But yeah, that was a good fix. That was a good change. Well, God bless you, sir. Thank you, Jim. All right. Well, I got a little more work to do. It's been 90 minutes. While scrolling, I don't know what I'm asking. We'll have to try. Let's see. All right. Kilroy, you're asking. Okay. Well, Kilroy's asking. I didn't realize you were talking to me. All right. Can you use? All right. And there we go. That's why I didn't see it. That's a question. And Kilroy, remember, anytime you got questions that you're addressing me, put question marks in front of it because there we go. I'm not selling. That's a whole nother ball of wax. I'll talk to you about that in a second. That I didn't realize. Number one, I didn't realize that was a question. Can you use Control Alt Shift tiny increments instead of the scrolling? While scrolling, I don't know what I'm asking. I'll have to try. All right, let's see here. As I scroll there, it's moving in 1 millimeter increments. Hold Shift, still a millimeter. Alt Shift. That doesn't do anything. Control Shift. Ooh, that changes it to 10 millimeters. What about Alt? Nope. All right. So here's what I just seen. Let me switch it over. So right now, this piece is showing 77,367. In fact, let's just do this, make it even number. We're going to tell this to go to 80 mil. So right now, this is 80 mil. And if I'm hovering over that and I'm using just my scroll button, and let me turn off your comment so we don't, where is it at? Kilroy, while scrolling. Oh, there it is. All right, turn it off. All right. So I'm at 80 mil and I'm hovering over that field and I use the scroll button. I scroll up, it goes to 81, 82, 83. It's moving in 1 millimeter increments. If I hold Shift, it's 1 millimeter increments. Shift doesn't do anything. I'm now back to 80. Now I hit Control and the scroll button. It moves in 10 millimeter increments. Now I'm at 40. If I hit Alt, it doesn't do anything. Alt stops it from scrolling at all. Control Shift still is doing 10. And Alt Shift doesn't do anything. Control Alt Shift doesn't do anything. So the only buttons that I'm seeing doing anything are just Control, and it makes it 10 millimeters, and Shift or nothing. And really, so Shift doesn't do anything either. So one scrolling doing nothing gives you 1 millimeter increments. Hold Control gives you 10 millimeters. And I just broke it. So that's what you were thinking about. And Roy's asking, am I still selling anything to John? He went through a little bit of an issue. He shared it, and it's not my place to share it, but he went through some problems with his online store after his wife passed away. And so things got really kind of, so I haven't done anything with him in a while. I think he's got all that straightened out, but it was a mess. His wife passed away, and there was a lot of drama that went along with that. And I think he's got a lot of that straightened out, but I haven't done any business with him lately. He's doing a lot of traveling. He's doing what I wish. He's living a hobo lifestyle right now. I think he's in Tennessee right now. But he's somewhere new practically every week. Concerts here, appearances there. So he's living the life I wished I was living. Hence the name Hobo. Will you be adding the MDF information to your shop supplies tab? I don't have it, Dale. This was a gift that was sent to me, so I don't have a link for it as of yet. But it is something that I need to look into and do a true endorsement on it and add it to my shop supplies. So yes, I will be adding it. I don't have it as of yet, but I'll be adding that. And probably the hat press and some other stuff. But yeah. I just noticed that this scrolling trick bypasses the lock. Oh, for the aspect ratio? Oh, I didn't think about that. All right, so I'm going to take that and I'm going to tell that to be 80 mil. Actually, you know what? Let's just cancel that. Select that. I'm going to lock my aspect ratio, tell that to go to 80 mil. So now everything is uniform and I didn't change anything. But now if I hold Shift, aspect ratio is still locked. Control, aspect ratio is still locked. So I didn't quite follow you there then. John says, I noticed that the scrolling trick bypasses the lock. So the lock is on, and when I scroll there, it's moving correctly. It's still locked. If I hold Shift, it's still locked. If I hold Control, it's still locked. I don't quite follow what you noticed there, Jonathan. Give me some more information. Share with us what you figured out. What about the up and down arrow key? Up and down arrow key? Oh. Up is 1 millimeter. Control is 10 millimeter. Looky there. Looky there. Looky there. So if you are, I'm back to 140 and I'm using my up and down arrow keys. Up 1 millimeter, down 1 millimeter. Hold the control button, up 10 millimeters. So yeah, control will move your decimal point over apparently when you're moving your width and height. Windows is stealing priority on some, but not all keys. And Russ said he emailed me information on the MDF. Okay, good. I am MDF fan. I found that there are different kinds. Must be due to the amount of, yeah, that was my contention, Jim. The amount of glue and binder. The high density MDF is hard to cut. Chars like wildfire is terrible. Lower density doesn't warp and it cuts. So yeah, and I had no idea that there was variables in MDF like that. And that's why I mentioned the stuff that you get in your big box stores. It's probably that higher density stuff, and it's full of lots and lots of glue. Super hard to cut. I just didn't like it. But this stuff, it cut like butter, and super impressive. Nice, clean cuts, full drops, really good stuff. So I apologize to everyone that I ever offended by saying I don't use MDF. I prefer to use solid woods and hardwoods. The premium Baltic birch is okay, but I prefer hardwoods. Yeah, the MDF is good if you got good stuff. And I really am impressed with this stuff. It's moving both length and width. Yeah, because I had the aspect ratio locked. I had the padlock on, so it's going to move them both. I use shift control. And see, when I did that, nothing was happening, Kilroy. Kilroy says he used shift alt control and minor movements. So let me go back over there. I tried it. So I've got that selected. Aspect ratio is locked. Alt shift control. And the scroll doesn't do anything. Now I'll use shift to get really, really fine movements with the arrow keys. Okay. All right. So control alt shift. And are you talking about up here? Well, okay. All right. I don't know that that's doing anything actually other than, in fact, let's look at something. I'm curious. Now you got me wondering. In your settings, in your units and grids, you can set up your movements. I've got right now, I'm going to do 10 millimeter, 1 millimeter, and this is a 1/4 millimeter. But you know what? I'm going to do something crazy here. I'm going to tell this to be 25 millimeters. So now, if I hold shift and arrow up, that moved whatever that was supposed to be, 1 millimeter. Just holding nothing, that's 10. There's 1. And if I hold control, that'll be 25. So what happens if I do alt shift control? I don't know what that movement was, but we can find out. We're going to turn our grid on, high contrast, and we'll do visual grid spacing of 1 millimeter and say okay. All right. And we're going to, actually, we'll just do a simple square. We'll come over here. And I'm going to put that right there. Come on. All right. So now that's 1 millimeter, that grid. And if I move it with nothing on, not doing no control, no nothing, just my arrow, move it up. Come on, get on the right screen here. There we go. All right. And that is set to 10 millimeters. Shift arrow, it should move 1 millimeter. So hold shift, and that jumped up 1 millimeter. Hold control, and it's going to jump way up out of screen. So jump 25 millimeters. But alt shift control, that moved a different variable, a different amount. That moved. In fact, let's mark my original. Come on now. So now if I move alt shift control and move up, that moved 2.5 millimeters. So it moved in a different, that's a value that I didn't even see you could set. You can set shift, you can set, let's go back and look at that again. Yeah, you can set the arrow movement, the shift arrow movement, and the control arrow movement. But there's nowhere to set the control alt shift movement. And it looks like it has a default of 2.5 millimeters. But I set my control arrow to either a 1/2 mil or 1/4 mil. So my control arrow movement is a whole lot smaller than your control alt shift movement. Never mind. I cannot recreate, but I thought, okay. Okay. Yeah, that one stuff that, and they promote this stuff for laser users. It was some of the first that I got, and it wasn't just pre-finished, but it has patterns on it. And no laser I had would even dent it. It just looked at my lasers and laughed. And I'm going, yeah, I ain't using that stuff. And that was one of the first things that turned me off. With the arrow, yeah, I'm using the arrow keys. I don't know. I use it for movement, not size, though. Yeah, and those were all movements. Watch change in XY position at the top to see how much it moves. Yeah, you can do that too. There. But some people that requires some math. That requires being able to subtract where it was from where it is, or from where it is from where it was, whatever. But by putting the grid up there, you can just see it. H&H Custom is another great place to get pre-finished MDF. I've never had any issues with it. And you can even get patterned MDF. I'll send you an email for them. Yeah, I'll look at that too. Yep, I will. Where is my mouse? My mouse keeps going to sleep. My battery might be going dead. My mouse keeps disappearing. The way mine is, I have never set values, but when I do control alt shifts, it gives me tiny, tiny movements. And 2.5 mil is a tiny movement, but if you're getting even smaller than 2.5 millimeters, do you know of how you can, Chris, have you ever run into setting the movement for Control Alt Shift, because in LightBurn, the only thing that you can set is Control arrow, and Shift arrow, but nothing about a Control Alt Shift arrow. So don't know. Don't know. Don't know. Would it be 1/4 of the one you had set for 10 mil? No, 25% of 10 would be, well, yeah, is that, let's look. Ooh. All right. Let's do that at that moved 2.5 mil. So let's set it at 5 mil for my arrow and say okay. And then let's see. Put this back to the original spot. Oh. Come on, dummy. Okay. So his thought process was, does Control Alt Shift give you 25% of the movement of what you had as just the arrow movement? So let's look. I moved the arrow movement to 5 mil. And now if I do Control Alt Shift, if his math works out, then that's going to move what? 1.25 mil. So just for giggles, that moves 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Shift moves 1. Control, I set it to 1/4. So there's 1/4. And a Control Alt Shift. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Look at there. That's it. Jer figured it out. Jer did the math. Jer is on the money. So that moved it. That moved it. Well, actually, what is that? Let's see. 5 times. Not 5. Dummy. No. Yeah, I was thinking it was 1.25, but it didn't. It moved it. No, that math don't. And here, guys, I told you my math don't math sometimes, but he's right that it is a percentage somehow of that. What do we got here? Okay. No, I suspect it's 10% of Shift arrow, according to LightBurn documentation. According to LightBurn documentation, hold Control when pressing the arrow key to nudge your selection 1/10 of a millimeter by default. This value is always 1/10 of the Control or Command nudge increment. So 1/10. Oh, now I got it. We got it. We got it. All right. So it's 1/10 of, go away. It's 1/10 of this, right? Well, let's just do it that way. We'll do it this way. We'll do this at 100. We'll do this one at 10, and we'll do this one at 1. So for people who are not very mathematically smart like me, we can see this really, really easy. So if we put this back in the center, and I tell this to move 100 millimeters, it's going to go way out of screen. Come back. Hold Shift. There it moved 10. Hold Control, and it's going to move 1. Control-Alt-Shift will be a 1/10 of 1. So that moved a 1/10 of a millimeter. Looking at, yep. And in fact, if you look right up here at your Y position, I'm at 0.34, 0.24, 34, 44. So 1/10 of 1 millimeter. So 1/10 of the control. So Control-Alt-Shift will move 1/10 of the smallest increment you can set up in that Move tab. Check. I learned something. All right. And 20 minutes ago, I was wrapping this up, but now we're learning stuff. And the people who checked out of here thought we was wrapping up and didn't get some there. They missing out. They missing out. All right. Anybody else? Like I said, it's between all of us, we'll figure these things out and we'll learn stuff together. It's one that I'm acknowledging, but that's probably actually 2 or 3 tonight. Well, it is set by default, Kilroy. It's 1/10 of the control arrow movement. So if you don't like how small it's moving, or you want it to be even smaller, then go over into your gears, go into your units and grids, and whatever this is right here, this is set at 1 millimeter right now. And actually, I need to change that. I want mine usually at 5, 1 1/2. But whatever this is, like right now, I put that at 0.5 millimeter. If that's what control arrow is 0.5 millimeter, then Control-Alt-Shift will be 1/10 of that. 1/10 of that amount. So every time you change that value, you will change the value of how much that Control-Alt-Shift moves. This is the way. This is the way we tie our shoes. This is the way I learned the hidden secrets of LightBurn is just by experimenting. I like even smaller because I zoom in all the way sometimes. Well, you can set that as, because I think that movement's going to be super, super small. If you go in and set that down to a 0.1, 1/10 of a millimeter, then your movement would be 1/100th of a millimeter. Is that right? Yep. So at 1/10 of a millimeter, if I move this down to, come on, and we look up here, it's a 0.33324, and I do Control-Alt-Shift. Yeah, it's just moving 2.5. It's moving 1/100th of a millimeter. If I want it even smaller, 0.001. It won't let me do 0.001. 0.01 and say okay. 0.01. I'm starting out at 0.24. Control-Alt-Shift. And there we go. Now I'm moving 1/1000th of a millimeter. 1/1000th of a millimeter. I was really late getting in, so I have to find all. Let's see. I was really late getting in, so I'll have to find out about the MDF part by rewatching this. Yeah, we just talking about how that's what this is. This is the first project I ever made out of MDF. This was the first successful project I ever made out of MDF, and we talked about, that was Craft Closet. It's really, 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 really good stuff. And even he says with more than one developer, you cannot know all the flow and effects and update. Yeah, oh yeah, yeah. There's so many hands involved in that pot and cooking that stew that people who are you're adding this ingredient over here, and you got two more chefs over there adding these ingredients. It's impossible to know what everybody's doing. Impossible. All right. We're going to wrap it. It's almost gone. It is gone. If I have a curved line with a lot of nodes, very easy. David's asking, if I have a curved line with a lot of nodes that make it jagged, how do I smooth it out? Use the optimize shapes tool. And let me show you that. Brad says, get a gallon next time. Have you seen the challenge? There's a, was it TikTok challenge or something like that? It's like, can you drink a gallon? And they try to drink a whole gallon, and they're spewing and throwing up and milk coming out their nose and their eyes and everything. It's stupid. Yeah. But yes, go to the optimize shapes tool, David. And I'm going to try and create something for you so you can see how it works. And no, you don't want to go in and delete all the nodes because that can affect the shape of your arc. Instead, I'm going to try and create, there we go, create a curve. And then I'm going to go into node editing. And right now there are just 2 nodes between that curve. And I'm going to create what you're describing. I'm going to get rid of these right here. All right. If this thing had a whole bunch of nodes in here, I'm going to insert. I'm going to bring this one on around here. Insert. And then I'm going to come in here. In between them all, I'm going to tell them all to be lines. Because sometimes this happens to you with either designs you create and not aware what happened, but you get this arc that whenever you look at it, it's jagged. It's not smooth. And sometimes it's designs that you get from people that were created in other types of artwork. And the way to make this smooth, just come up here to your tools. There's tools to edit. Optimize selected shapes. And when you do that, it's going to show you all of the nodes that are in there. And if you're wanting to make this truly an arc and you don't want any flat lines, because right now you've got 3 things you can do. This one is turned off by default. This one is fit shapes to lines. And if this is a curve, your goal is to get rid of lines. You don't want lines. You want to get arcs. So you can start increasing the number of arcs right here. And that deletes a bunch of the nodes right there. But what I do, and I don't know if this is probably not how it's supposed to be used, but this is how I use it. To maintain as much of that original shape as possible, I will turn on smooth source shapes and I'll max that out. And once I've got that maxed out, it smoothed all that up, and it actually inserts a whole bunch of nodes. And then I'll come down here and increase this, and it'll begin to decrease the nodes so you don't have as many in there. And you can see right there, it starts out, it's 28 lines, 0 curves. I want to shape it to arcs. Now it's got 5 curves. It's only got 19 points. And let's get it down to 19, but that smooths it out and say, okay. And that's better off. I've still got a little bit of a funky corner right there. And if that's not what I want, then I can go back into node editing and look at it and say, okay, what happens if I hit S? I just hit the letter S on that and smoothed that out. And that made that smooth. But that optimized shapes is one of the best way to get rid of when you've got a whole bunch of nodes and everything's squared off. You can use that to tell it to be curves and then use it to optimize it and get rid of as many nodes as possible. I got more milk in the fridge, but I ain't going to get it. How do I tell them to become lines? Hover between the nodes and hit the letter L. And this is a new, go back in here to nodes. See, I've got this handle right here and this handle right here. And now I've got that funky curve going on. Well, if I don't want that, they've got these new tools, or used to. In fact, they probably still got it. If I go over here and I just hover, just wait, there it is. If you just wait, your menu will pop up and tell you what your shortcuts are. There's S for smooth, L for line, smooth node or line, convert curve to a line, and it went away. So just come back and hover over it again. Delete the node, insert a node, midpoint node, break, trim, extend, and align. And that's what these are over here. It's for people who, it's the same shortcuts, but it's a visual representation of what we just looked at. So the one for L is convert a click to convert a curve to a line, or press the L key. This one is smooth. That's the S key. So these are, and if your eyes are not very good, you can't tell there's any difference in these, but there is. This, the darker one is the line. This one, the darker one is the curve. And this is one of the things they added in 2.0, that there are people who, and it goes back to right brain, left brain, visual people, how you see, interpret things. So this was a visual representation of what already existed. They didn't add or change anything. They just made it a new way for you to recognize what the tool does. So if I go back over there and if I click, this is, I want to make it a line. I've selected that one, and then just come over here and click. It'll go to a line everywhere I click. But if I just come down here and don't do anything and just hover over that and hit the letter S, it'll smooth it. It'll do this one right here. So if I come down here and click on it, there we go. Well, come on now. Don't make a liar out of me. That's S. It's not doing S. Let's change. There's this right there. S. S doesn't seem to be working. Line. That's line. Smooth. All right. There you go, Chris. There's something to report. S don't seem to be working right there. Unless I'm doing something wrong. Press the S key. Click to convert line to a curve. And that's a line. And I'm clicking, and that should be converting that to a curve, and it's not doing it. Corner. I don't use these. I've always just used the keyboard shortcut. This will be S for smooth. And when I've got this highlighted, S, I should be able to click on this one and get two handles on either side of it. And I'm clicking all day long and it won't do anything. But I hit the letter S and I get my two handles to convert that and twist it. Come on. Come on. Give me the handle. Now it's not letting me grab the handle. Huh. Okay. You can't grab the handle whenever you're. Yes, I don't like these. So that's S for smooth. And if I come up here to one that's not smooth, click on it, it should give me handles and it don't. But then if I hit the letter S, it gives me the handles, but I can't grab those because I have this selected. I have to go to my selector tool in the node editing in order to grab the handles. So I think this still needs some ironing. I don't like this. I don't like this. How can I post the link to the HH creations here? You can't. You can't post links in the comments. You just have to email it to whoever's actually wanting to see it. Yeah, sometimes the offset tool can create some unwanted angular, but if you look when you're using the offset tool, optimize, simplify results. I almost always have that turned on. If you don't have it turned on and you start doing some, there you go. There's a circle that I did an inward offset on, and it's a 0 offset, but instead of giving me a circle, it's giving me a polygon shape of some sort because it's not simplified. That's kind of funky. That's outward. Okay, Chris, are you still with us? Or yeah, you are. That is a new problem. Let me try this again. Delete that. I'm going to draw. Let's see if I make it bigger. Does it go away? So there's a 32 mil circle. Go to offset. If I go inward, optimize is turned off. I don't see those angles. Keep coming in. But to optimize, sometimes that's where if you don't have that turned on, that will create those angles. But I want to look at something 0 offset. Okay. That worked. I guess it was because it was so small. Because I do 0 offsets all the time to correct problems and clean up. Because another thing, when you have a bunch of nodes that you don't want, doing a 0 offset with the optimized and simplified results turned on is just like using the optimized select or the optimized tool, but it by doing a 0 offset, it maintains the exact same shape, but cleans up all the nodes. And whenever I get something that somebody sends me and it's just got nodes all over the place, I use 0 offset all the time. So when that was doing something funky with 0 offset, let's see. Come on, wrong way, Conway. Yeah, there. I got optimize turned on, say okay. All right. But when you say okay, it didn't. Well, let's look at the node because there I see some little corners there. Let's look at nodes. No, it don't either. Yeah, it's got some funky going on there. Oh well. Ding dong ding dong. Uh why do those menus disappear just before you why do those menus disappear just before you read down to what you're looking for? uh try it over the line, not the node. All right, let's try that. Oh, yeah, let's try that. Here, get rid of that. Come back to, we'll use that one. Back to the same one. Come on. And so node editing. But now, all right, if I go to line first and I hover over that node right there and hit the L, or I hit the click on the node. All right, that don't do anything. If I click on the line, there we go. Go back to the curve and click on the line. There we go. All right. You still can't grab the handles though until you go back up here to the selector tool. All right. It's just a new way to do things. So there's a line, and you can tell it's a line because there's no handles on this node and only one handle on this node. So this is a straight line. If I hover over that line with the line or the smooth there, click on it. Now I've got handles on both sides. All right, so that works. That works. Back to line, click on line, but click on smooth, turn it back to a smooth, hover over that. And that's because if you hover over the, there it is, that's a curve. And if I come to that node right there and I'm hovering over the node, let's go back to the line button and I hover over the node and click on it, it doesn't do anything. But if I hover over that node and hit the letter L, it turns it back to a line. So there's where I was getting confused because I've always hovered over the node and hit my L, S, boot, whatever. But now you have to hover over the line in order to use that new menu. And so it's not, it doesn't mesh. You know, hey. Brad says you need to click the selector icon in the node. I did that. Yeah, you can use either or. But my problem was if you use the keyboard shortcut, you can do it while hovering over the node. But those new click things, you actually have to click on the line and not the node. It was to make it clearer which side of the nodes to operate on. Okay. All right. Like I said, it's just a new way. It's a new thing. Not a bad thing. It's just something new. Not the way that I'm used to it working. I'm really proficient with node editing. I can do some serious stuff with my nodes, but that doesn't work the way that it's been flowing. That's okay. I'll figure it out. But with that said, y'all done pushed me another 45 minutes past the time I've been out of, or at least 30 minutes or so past my milk. And I still need to get these files cleaned up and sent out to everybody. So I need to get off here. All right. Like, share, and subscribe. We all learned a bunch tonight. We had some fun tonight. All right. Thank you for watching. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me on a Saturday night. I know we all got lots of better things we'd much rather be doing. Not me, really, because if I didn't really want to be doing this, I wouldn't be here. Thank you all. Thank you all for your support. And I'll see you in the next video. Anybody who has already downloaded this, look for the new file coming to you, hopefully within the next 20, 30 minutes. And anybody that wants to get this one, if you wait until tomorrow, then you know you're going to get the right files. All right. So thanks, everybody. You guys have a great weekend. And I plan to have in fact, you know what? For the 50 of you that's still here, I do have another channel that I started on YouTube. And I've kept it separate from Hobo with Wood. It's not going to intermingle. They're not going to cross-pollinate. But it's called Intelligence Unmasked. Intelligence Unmasked. And what it is my attempt to educate everyone who's willing to learn what AI really is. One, it's not intelligent. It is a computer program. And a person and or people have programmed this program. And the people who have programmed this program have an agenda. They have their reasons for doing what they do. And it is a glorified web crawler. It doesn't know anything. It doesn't learn anything. It is not intelligent. All it does is go out and grab stuff off of the internet, and it will spew popular consensus. It does not spew facts. It spews popular consensus. Doesn't matter what the subject is. It doesn't matter if it's about the moon landing. It doesn't matter if it's about the Bible. It doesn't matter if it's about a flat earth or a globe earth. It doesn't matter what it's about. It's going to spew popular consensus. And if the programmers have their own agenda about what they want to promote, the AI actually has guardrails and safety parameters built into it that prevent it from going against the programmer's desired wishes. And I am actually using AI to expose all of this. I know everything I'm telling you to be true out of logic, common sense, and the fact that AI said it. If you know how to ask what to ask and push its buttons, it will admit to everything. AI will lie to you. AI will flat out tell you a lie and know that it's lying when it does it. And it will admit it. If you ask it, go on ChatGPT and just ask it, hey, Will you lie? Are you capable of telling a lie? It'll tell you, yeah, it will. And you can even trigger. I've seen others that will say, instead of lying, if you ask it a question and it doesn't want to tell you the honest answer, and it's going to give you a fib or an incorrect statement, I've seen people give it instructions and say, instead of telling a lie, say a keyword. Say Pinocchio. So if you ask it, is the sky really blue? And if it really wants to tell you something else, instead of telling you a lie, it'll say Pinocchio. It will follow your instructions. But if you just try and take it as gospel, then you're falling into a trap. And so Intelligence Unmasked is going to be a fun channel, and I encourage you guys to give me topics. What do you want to explore? What do you want to ask AI about? I don't care what it's about. And I have even had conversations with AI to where I ask it in one conversation. I start a chat and I said, "Hello, ChatGPT. Is the Earth flat or a globe?" The Earth is a globe. Okay, the Earth is a globe. Explain this. And we go down a whole bunch of logic questions, and then it changed its mind and said, on this line of reasoning and logical questions and answers, then the only logical answer is the Earth is flat. Initially, it said it was a globe. It changed its mind, and now it says it's flat. I'll wait a day and go in and ask it, is the Earth flat or a globe? The Earth is a globe. And then I ask it a whole bunch of questions, and it absolutely proves that it's a globe. So if you ask it the right questions that it can't logically explain, you can influence it. You can get the answers you want out of it. And it even tells you that it is programmed to pick up on your type of questioning, and it will give you a favorable response that you're looking for. So there's nothing intelligent about it at all. And you have to be aware of who's programming it, because they set the rules and the guardrails for how it's going to operate. And if they have an agenda that they're wanting to promote, then they can do that in the shadows. So be careful. So Intelligence Unmasked, go over to the YouTube channel. It's already there. I've got 2 videos up. They're not all going to be flat AI generated, but I'm going to try and keep it separate from this. I'm not even going to try and do it in this environment. I don't want them getting mixed up. All right. The only smart thing it does is find ways to tell you how smart you are. I wonder how long it is before people believe AI over Google when they give differing results from the same data. Well, and it's all about how it's asked and how it's presented. That's what I'm saying. I can get different results just from the way how I question it. All right, guys. Have a good night. Have a good weekend. And I'll see you in the next video, and look for your inbox for the new files, and wait till tomorrow to download it if you haven't already. Have a good night, and we'll see you in the next stream.